Okay, so a bit of info on the engine. This engine is just a long block that I've had sitting around for a while. I pulled it down, stripped it apart, cleaned it out. Honed the bores, and I put it back together using the same rings and bearings that went in it. For the main reason is I just need this engine to last long enough for a tune. I've got another engine that I'm building, but I was really reluctant to try and tune an engine and run in an engine at the same time. So if this one can last long enough to be tuned and maybe iron out all the gremlins, then I will be able to put in the other engine that I'm building. So this is a completely standard engine. The only difference is it has been stripped, cleaned, honed, new gaskets, new seals, and ARP head studs. Everything else is completely factory. The inlet manifold is Nissan Pulsar GTIR with a small adapter plate here, just 10mm aluminium that I made. The manifold is pretty much untouched. The only thing I had to do was figure out how to clean up and reuse the idle air control valve, as I want to keep that. So I changed some of the pipes and some of the routings. The inside of it needed a little bit of porting to match the adapter plate, but apart from that, it's pretty much a factory manifold. And I swapped the throttle position sensor 180 degrees because it was too close to the dizzy. Apart from that, like I say, it is pretty much factory, and I blocked up the blow-off valve hole because I won't be using one. These coils are LS3 coil and plug with built-in igniters. I bought a set of 8 off Amazon, and I sold the other 4 for what it cost me for all 8. So these were theoretically free. I did make a dizzy. I made my own dizzy for a trigger system. This one here, but it was built to take a Cherry Hall effect sensor, and this itself was Falcon throttle, Falcon body and Pinto shaft. And I had a little 36-1 trigger wheel built that I put inside it, but it was still too close to the manifold. And if it needed chopping and changing, it'd mean you'd have to remove the manifold to do anything. So I didn't bother. So it now has a 36-1 crank trigger and a Cherry Hall effect sensor, and next to it on the auxiliary is another trigger wheel. It was 36-1, but I found out that all you need is one, so I ground them all off and left one on it, and it has another Hall effect sensor, and I'll put some pictures in now of that. But that allows me to have a trigger system on the crank and a home signal on the auxiliary, and when they're synced up, it means that this now runs direct spark sequential injection, and it is running on that. It does run. It took us a while to get it working. It was kind of batch firing there for a little bit, but it does work. Like I say, this manifold is lovely. I didn't make that. It was made by a guy much more clever than myself. The turbo itself is a Evo 4, I think, TDO5 HR16G. It did have AliExpress's finest actuator on it, but I've since removed that and going with a Go Faster Bits internal actuator. So this comes with a bunch of springs, and I'm thinking I might just set it at PSI, and then the three port Mac valve, which is down there, is just wired to a switch. So I can set that to a little bit more than 10 PSI and then just have a switch on the dash to switch it between wastegate pressure and increased boost. As the Link ECU only had so many outputs. It's a Link Atom X actually, it only had so many outputs. So I used what I could. And that is just on a switch, and there's a small little shift light on the dash as well. The Davies and Craig electric water pump, like I said, that is down there. That takes care of everything. The controller that's in the glove box actually controls the water pump, the fan, no thermostat. So you just set the temperature you want it to come on. It pulses. It will circulate the water for you as well, so you don't get any air pockets. You can just keep topping it up until it's actually completely full. The other engine that I am building for it is this one here. This is standard block, not 205, standard bore, Cosworth YB pistons. Give me a second. It has Cosworth YB pistons, CRS forged rods. I don't know if you can see them down there, but I have actually, just pull it out a little bit. I don't know if you can see them. I'll pull it under a light a minute. Here you go. I've actually put under piston oil squirters in it as well. If you want to know how I did that, let me know, and I'm happy to tell you I actually did that at home with a battery drill as well. There's an upgraded oil pump for this as well, high volume, high pressure. I did have a go at porting and polishing the head. So porting a head, cutting valves for bigger valves, and seating them. It was the first time I'd ever done that. No, sorry, that's a lie. The first time I did, I actually went through the inlet port on the inlet side. The second attempt, I ported it, inlet, exhausts, cut the valves, seated the valves, sent it off to have the head skimmed, and found out that the head was cracked. So I'm going to have to do it all again, hence why another engine went back in while I play with this one. So I sent off five other heads to be crack tested this time, and I got two good ones here, so I should be able to have a go at it. So the head's going to have race springs, probably a standard cam, but big valves and ported. I did have a really good friend of mine tell me to go and get the head crack tested before I even start, and let's just say lesson learned, because I put a lot of hours into the head that I thought I'd done, only to find out it was crack tested. So if you want some advice from me, get your heads crack tested before you even start porting them. Nice little supercharger set up there with Rover V8 carbs, and I'm building for my nephew's Pinto. And apart from that, that's the engine in this thing. It's pretty basic. I will add in some pictures of little bits here and there, but it's going to do the job. I'm hoping this engine will last. I'm not after heaps of horsepower. Ideally, I'd love between 250 and 300 at the wheels, but we'll see. See how it goes. Okay. If you want to know anything else, let me know. Cheers.